Hey guys, thank you for checking out Bucked Up. Just before we start, I would love if you'd hit the subscribe button, like, share the video. We have new episodes coming out every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And starting in the new year, check out Wrapped Up exclusively on Vivo. This episode is sponsored by Exotic Roots Hydro, which I have to give a huge shout out to. They are a huge supporter of the podcast, and I'm really happy to be working with them. If you're ever in Rochester, New York, and you need to learn about any of your hydroponic needs, go to their shop. You can follow them at Exotic Roots Hydro on Instagram. Shout out their whole team. They have an amazing venue space. They're going to be putting on tons of events. Just make sure to follow Exotic Roots Hydro on Instagram. And if you're ever in Rochester, definitely stop by. Let's get back into it.
It was at this moment that he knew.
He bucked up.
Now you fucked up. Now you fucked up. Now you fucked up. Now you fucked up. Now you fucked up. Now you have fucked up.
It's so cool that we met. I was saying Bruiser Thanksgiving 8 was like one of the most fun weekends of my whole life.
That was really fun.
Had you ever been out there before?
I was out there once before. 2019, I went. It was so fun. I forgot it was 2019. No, because that was like your Sada Baby was there. 2018.
Oh, I've always wanted to see Sada Baby.
Apparently he brought like 50 dudes on stage, and it was like complete fucking chaos.
Yeah, that's what happens when like a Griselda shows happen. It's wild.
I'm surprised Griselda didn't do that not Rolling Loud. Yeah, Rolling Loud.
Well, they probably were very strict about the passes.
They were very.
But like even in Conway's show in Reading, I was up on stage. Like
I've always wanted to do that. I've always wanted to just be up on stage while somebody else is rapping and just like chill.
You haven't done that with Danny?
No, I would be too embarrassed even if he would let me, and he wouldn't let me. They'd kick me off the stage so quick.
Well, the thing about Bruiser Thanksgiving, it was so wild with the moshing, and then you see the security hold.
Did you see that girl with like this? With like the colorful outfit on, she was trying to jump over for every single guy, but when Z came on, forget about it. He took the shirt off and she was like I think she actually did get over, because like at one point she was next to me and I'm like, how the fuck did you get here?
It was wild. That was one of the craziest shows I've ever been.
That barrier was, I don't know how it even stayed up on.
The security guards were like full on holding it.
Because it's not meant to like have shows there, so they had to just do like a makeshift stupid fucking barrier. It's bullshit.
And it's fucking Bruiser Brigade, Bruiser Thanksgiving. Like
Exactly.
That's gonna be a crazy show. Danny always puts on one of the best shows.
Exactly. Are we recording right now?
I guess we'll start.
Oh, okay. Because I was wondering. I was like,
We just kind of start whenever. It's like,
perfect. Oh, so
how did
yeah,
you meet
I know.
Danny?
So I love telling this story, but basically, I've been a fan of Danny's for, by the way, if any viewers are watching, I have Tourette's. Don't come for me in the comments. I know I blink a lot. Shut the fuck up. So anyways, because people like being weird. But
No,
so,
I understand.
But so
I hate
anyways,
internet trolls.
internet trolls are fucking horrible.
Yeah.
I hate them.
I get called a weird nerd, nerdy white guy a lot, but that's true.
Exactly. Just own up to it. But so the way that I met Danny was, I've been a fan of his since I was like 13 years old. I first heard 30, obsessed with it. And what happened? So like I would be friends with him on Twitter and stuff. I would talk to him. Everything was nice. I would always say like, hey, I'm so proud of you and stuff. I was just like a huge fangirl.
Yeah.
And I remember I first saw him when I was 16 years old. It was a crazy show. It was at Peter Palooza, and it was like Danny, Schoolboy Q headline. It was right after Oxymoron, or right after Oxymoron came out. Absol, Action Bronson, G-Eazy came out right before he blew up. Some other people, and Chris Rivers, who's Big Pun's son. It was like an amazing show. And at the end, I'm waiting for my mom to pick me up. And then Danny's rushing out, takes a picture with somebody. And I'm like, hey, Danny. And he was like, I gotta go. I'm running to catch a show. And he hugged me. And I like thought about that all the time. So I never got to meet him. And then one day he invited me to his show after I was like, I want to get tickets. It was for the Atrocity exhibition tour. But I didn't realize he gave me meet and greet. So I fucked up that chance. And then we would keep saying, we're going to meet. And then I remember one day, at Bruiser Thanksgiving.
Wait, so he gave you meet and greets and you just didn't realize it?
Yeah, I didn't realize until I got there because he didn't tell me. So I was so upset. But then a few years later, I go to Bruiser Thanksgiving. And long story short, I wanted to go out there. Danny asked me to shoot. he ended up paying for my GoFundMe to make it out there because I wasn't making my goal because I had like a very bad Twitter meltdown over my career, something totally unrelated. And I guess he felt bad and was like, let me.
Why did you have a GoFundMe? Just because you wanted to go so bad?
Yeah, and I didn't have the money. So
what was the Twitter freak out about?
Basically, so I was an intern at Rolling Stone magazine, and they weren't letting me write anything. And I was just getting really upset because everybody else was getting bylines and stuff, and I felt like the only odd one out.
Yeah. And
jokes on them because the story that I literally begged for was interviewing Megan Thee Stallion right before she became big. So they ate their words because literally about a year later she's on the fucking cover with City Girls and shit.
And you were like, let me interview her. Like, come on.
Like, I was like, I've listened to this girl, and then they wanted to just
like
throw
before,
me a bone.
Yeah, Cognac Queen, all that.
Yeah, it was like right after Tina Snow dropped. I'm like, just let me do it.
A good project.
So they just did it, but they withheld it from me until like March, long after my internship was done. So there was that, and a bunch of people plagiarized that. I won't name names, but there were some people who plagiarized that feature. But so I had a mental breakdown because I was like, I'm not getting bylines. I don't want to do music writing anymore. And I guess Danny saw that and felt bad, so he paid for my GoFundMe. He's like, no problem. Come out, and I'm going to meet you. And I'm like, okay. I take a 10-hour road trip with a friend of mine. Shout out Darren, if Darren ends up watching. I hope they do. Me and Darren went from Pennsylvania. I met them in Pennsylvania, and we drove up to Detroit. 10 hours. It was horrible. And right after the 10 hours, we literally went to the Airbnb, then went right to the show. Danny saw me in the photo pit and knelt down and was like, hi, and gave me like a high five and stuff. But then I think he got too drunk and he forgot to come out. And I was like, crap, I didn't get to meet him. So I wrote him like a very emotional, very long letter. And I gave it to his manager who was picking up stuff from the merch girl. And then the next day I wake up to like a million DMs from him, all in caps saying, call me right now. Call me right now. But then he didn't answer. Cause I think
emotional and like...
Yeah, like he was just like, call me right now.
What do you mean, like emotional letter?
Emotional letter. Just like me talking about how much he means to me. Mm-hmm. And how like proud I am of him basically. And how like I feel this strange, like very spiritual connection to that man that I've always had. And the letter was just like me saying, I love you and I'm so proud of you. And I'm glad that I get to basically exist on this earth with you. And thank you for giving me this opportunity. And yeah, he blew up my phone the next day on my DMs, but he didn't answer my text or my calls. I think he might have got busy or something. So that didn't work out. And then he didn't reply to my texts or calls for months. And I'm like, did he give me a fake number? And then I remember he was on the cover of High Snobiety. And I think that's how you fucking say it. If not, whatever, we'll deal with it. And he did a show out here, but I was 20, so I couldn't get in. And he was like, it's okay. And then I remember that night I had a weird dream that I met him. And the next day while I'm at work, I randomly get a call from him. Like as I'm about to close and leave. And he was like, I'm really hungry. Meet me at this place. So I was like, okay. I went out. I met him at his hotel. I had dinner.
Straight from work?
Yeah, straight from work. I was freaking out. I was shaking the whole Uber ride over there. And it was him, Triple Black, and Danny's girlfriend. And after that, it was history. And he showed me Danny's house that night. He played like the rough version of You Know What I'm Saying and stuff to me. Wow. And we had like the most amazing night really. And like that finally started. It was multiple years in the making.
That's awesome.
Almost a decade in the making.
The ships in the night always passing, never get to work out, and then it finally does.
Exactly.
It really does, like, it's cool seeing you guys' friendship. That's why I wanted to ask that, like.
Yeah.
It's really cool, like, seeing it, because I was new to everyone, you know, like, coming into that situation. But you guys really do have something, like, as you said, like a spiritual connection with that.
And I'm glad people could see that, like, there's something about him that, like, I'm just very protective over him. And sometimes it annoys the fuck out of him, I know, because he's like, I think he thinks I don't trust him or something. And it's not that I don't trust him. It's just, I know people can take advantage of good people like him, and I want him to be safe. And even though it shouldn't be my responsibility, especially because all these other guys have known him for far longer and can do that, there's some part of me, like, that feels like I have this duty to protect him and take care of him. And he would, like, I could tell it annoys him sometimes. But I love that guy. I love you,
and
Daniel.
He still loves you. Like,
exactly.
That was such... But he does have a good team. Like, Bruiser Brigade, like, what
are
do
my
they
boys.
call it? The Newser Brigade? Is that what they call? I think that's
Who
what
fucking-
Fat Ray called it.
Oh, I think so.
100%. I wouldn't make that up.
Fat Ray. He says some funny things. Sometimes.
But they're all such good dudes. Like
They're all genuinely like good people,
yeah,
and that's
other than their music being amazing, and we'll talk about that later. But like when I went up, everyone being so welcoming and like loving, it was really awesome.
and that's like the good, and that's one thing that I especially value as like a young woman and stuff. How like they've really respected just me and my boundaries and everything, and like recognized like my position in this world compared to some others. Like JOS said something so nice to me on my last night there, where he was like, he was drunk too, but he told me, he was like, I hope you find somebody that doesn't mind you hanging out with the gangsters. And then he gave me a hug, and I was like, for some reason, like that just stuck out to me, like it as like the sweetest thing. And they're all really such great guys, and they're so protective and kind, and like they like, if they allow you into their circle, that means something, because they're not bad judges of character. And yeah, and everybody I've met through them so far has been like awesome. I have no complaints.
Me too. That's why like I'm so happy we got to meet, is because like this is the only person that you recommended to me the day we met, and it worked out perfect. Like
That's my boy Sharif.
yeah, you just
That boy
watched the
Sharif.
last episode with
My
Fat
Jersey
Boy
King.
Sharif.
I love all of y'all. I love Jade. I love Sam. I love the world. I love Amsterdam. Yeah.
But it's so funny. So shout out Bruiser Wolf.
My boy.
My dad listened to the
Shout out
podcast.
to Bruiser Brigade.
Shout out Bruiser Brigade.
Hell yeah.
My dad listened to the episode with Bruiser Wolf and found him on Facebook and DM'd him. And now they're friends and like talk to each other on Facebook
Aw,
and
it's so
stuff.
cute.
It's so cute, and I love that.
Wolf is like a dad, honestly. I love that man.
That was one of the first things he said to me when you were at the dinner at the Asian restaurant.
Yeah.
Was like, he was like, how's your pops doing? Like, oh, that was my first day in Detroit ever, was at that
Yeah.
dinner.
Detroit's amazing, honestly.
Yeah.
That Detroit, I love that city, because you could just like feel the energy, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
There's just something about it. Like obviously the General Motors and all that other stuff, very, very, very sad. But otherwise, all things considered, it's like, it's such an amazing city. It's just cold as shit though. It wasn't bad when we were there.
It was pretty cool.
But
it was pretty cool.
No, it gets worse. Like when I was there 2 years ago, I had like this gigantic puffer coat on, and I still couldn't. I was screaming down the street because I could not feel any part of my body. I don't like that.
So then how did you get, you just became friends, but then you started writing for him? Because when we talked, the first time I was very fucked up, so I don't remember the conversation. But I remember you saying you wrote a piece for him.
For who?
For Danny.
Oh yeah.
And that's like,
because so basically,
because you work at Paste?
I work at Paste Magazine, yes. But the first piece I ever wrote was right after about him, was after You Know What I'm Saying came out, where I wrote this long post about like how he reminds me so much of my father, and it blew the fuck up. And I got my first ever freelance assignment through that, interviewing Angel Olsen for Vinyl Me Please.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, holy shit. And then from there, like everything went up just because of that one thing I just threw up on a blog, basically on Medium, just for the fuck of it, essentially. And it blew up more than I could anticipate. And I still get messages about that sometimes. People like, I randomly came across it, and across your piece, and I just want to say it's amazing. And
What came to you when you wrote that?
What do you mean?
Like, why did you write that piece?
Because Danny really does remind me so much of my dad, and in many ways, like, I see Danny kind of like as a father figure. And then I figured, like, when You Know What I'm Saying came out, because it was like fresh, it was like only a few months after we met each other, and I was like explaining these things to him, and I kind of just wanted to get it off my chest to understand why it is that I connect with him so much. And eventually I realized, like, it's because he reminds me so much of my dad, and basically reminds me of like how my dad would be if my dad was still alive and was able to recover in the way that he wanted to. And seeing like Danny like do everything that he wants to do, and being like the man that he is, was true. Like, it just still makes me emotional just like seeing him, because like that's exactly what I wanted for my dad, and basically now I get to invest that into making sure that happens to Danny.
And that's why you have this like protective feel over him, probably.
Definitely.
Yeah, and that's so cool that he accepts that.
And I feel like it puts a lot of pressure on him too, kind of. But like he's good. He's really good with it, and he's really just sweet and kind, and I think he recognizes that and tries really hard to protect me as well, because he doesn't want to fuck that up or like betray my trust in that way, because of how much pressure I may have unknowingly put on him by saying like, you remind me of my dad, because I feel like most men, if they heard that, they wouldn't know how to fucking take it.
Mm-hmm. But he's a real one. I think he would understand it, because you're doing it in a real way. You're not doing it in like a fan way. I know you're doing it in a fan way, but not in a fan way.
Exactly. Yeah. Basically, yeah.
But you're also doing other crazy shit. Like, you've now grown into like interviewing some insane people. Like,
yeah, I'm really privileged to do what I do, like as a music writer and stuff. And now that I'm an editor,
do you believe in luck?
I definitely do, because I'm lucky as shit. Some stuff that have happened to me have literally just fell on my lap out of nowhere. But
haven't you worked to get that? You said you were like interning at Rolling Stone and shit.
Yeah, it's like a little bit of both. But even though I got that Rolling Stone thing, no opportunities came to me still in a whole entire year. Like, just because people see that on your resume, they don't give a shit.
No, but it gives you like a self-worth thing.
Yeah, I guess. I feel like I didn't learn a lot, so I feel like I came out of that just being like, okay, what next? Because I just have something fancy to show for it, but they didn't teach me anything. So most of the stuff, I had to like learn entirely on my own, basically. Just like how to write and stuff. And obviously school helped me. I went to journalism school, but otherwise I felt like I navigated it primarily just on my own. And I feel like Rolling Stone did not really help me that much.
Yeah. But I feel like you have to learn on your own, like this. Like, shout out Ani and Irish for helping me, but like, this is from the beginning. We didn't know what we were doing, and it just kind of fell into place. Like,
exactly.
That's why I asked if you believe in luck, because I do feel like everything kind of happens for a reason. Like,
exactly. Yeah, the universe works in like really weird, strange ways. Sometimes for good, and sometimes for bad. I'm not the type of person who feels like, I feel like on one hand everything happens for a reason, but also on the other hand so much shitty things happen that shouldn't happen to people. But I think for the most part, there's some sort of like there's some sort of being that's kind of pulling the strings a little bit. Yeah.
Well, you talked about like having the meltdown because you weren't getting enough work. And then like, it's funny because then just like you said it was a Facebook post that you wrote?
It was on Medium.
Oh, it was on Medium. That was the thing that blew up. It's just like, you didn't even expect it.
About a year later. And it was the most informal thing I ever wrote. It was just like me just like kind of just dumping all my feelings out there with a mixture of like my very depressing poetry. And it worked.
Yeah.
It worked.
And now you like, interviewing. Did you ever get to interview Megan Thee Stallion?
I did. And she was amazing. And I love how I had to call her mother. So I was talking to her mother for a few minutes because her mom was her manager at the time.
Oh, wow. So this was early.
This was literally right after Tina Snow dropped. So
yeah, because her mom was still alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was only a few months before that. And then Megan and I were talking. We even invited each other to our graduations and stuff. And obviously that didn't work out. But like, Megan, if you somehow listen to this, I really want to meet you. I love you.
If she listened to this, that would
be
wild.
Crazy.
That would be wild.
But yeah, she was the sweetest, humblest woman ever. And the one thing that stood out to me the most is like I was at the end of the interview. I said, "What do you want to do the most? What is your next goal?" And she was like, "Well, my ultimate goal is to have a song with Beyonce," and it happened on the Savage remix. And I'm like, literally everything Megan told me she wanted to do in that interview came true.
What do you want? What's your goal?
To be financially stable. That's the main thing, just like to not struggle or worry. But if I want to like think otherwise.
But what's your main goal? Because it will happen. Just like I'm not financially stable at all, but I know that me doing this, it has to pay off sometime, you know?
Yeah, I feel like for me, if I had to choose my main goal, it would be I want to be well respected in my field, which is writing about music and stuff, and being so well respected and stuff that I don't have to worry about it. Like maybe I'll just do I'll write a book here and there, and then on the side write a couple pieces. Because I don't want to do the daily grind of stuff of being an editor and stuff forever. And my ultimate goal is to kind of have that independence and freedom to just do whatever the fuck I want, churn out some books, write about what I want to, maybe guest lecture at NYU or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just like how the old posh journalists that I was taught by, how they do it. Like those old legacy journalists and stuff like that. I really want that for myself. I feel like that's the only way I'd be able to thrive if I'm not actively doing labor every single day and clocking in and out and stuff.
Yeah.
Cause I'm not built for that. I'm not built for that. I feel like I would just
built
get
for
very
late
depressed.
nights and I couldn't believe how you were sober hanging with all of us.
I don't know how I do it sober either, honestly, but I do.
You do.
I
do
do,
it well.
and they like it too, honestly, because I'm one of the few voices of reason, and they've all have learned pretty quickly. Oh wait, she doesn't do any of that stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm just there, and I get to be a fly on the wall and see things progressively get crazier. Basically.
Always get crazier.
It's insane.
By the end of that fucking.
We were up until nobody not everybody left until 4 a.m. or something, and then I decided to pull an all-nighter because I had to go to my flight. So I was delirious, and I went there with my friend Bleachy, and Bleachy was knocked out on the couch, and me and JUS were trying to shake him awake, and he wouldn't wake up, and he had to go to the airport the same time as me, and then JUS is just fucking go. He'll figure it out. And I was oh my God. I felt so bad.
And you had to leave him?
I had to leave him.
Flight?
I don't know.
That's
the thing. I still don't know. I still don't know. They said, oh no, he woke up just fine. But in my mind, I was I don't
in time for the flight?
And he hasn't spoken to me in a while. So.
Oh no.
But then again, he hasn't been online, period. So I don't know. But I feel really bad. I think about that every once in a while. I'm just laying awake at night, and I'm did Bleach even make his flight? Because he got home.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he made that flight. But to be fair, we were trying to wake him up and everything, and he was just, every time we'd wake him, he'd just snore even louder. So I was it's not going to work out.
Yeah. Something that I realized about that show is Z really is the new Danny with that he is I can't wait to see him in New York. His performance was so good.
He is one of the best live shows I have ever seen.
And he's been I couldn't believe this was his first headlining tour because he's been making music for so long.
Yeah, he's been doing it for a really long time. It's amazing. As somebody who's been listening to him since his first album, it's just
really?
crazy.
Since 2014 and
Help is still my favorite Zaloopers project of all time.
No, really?
Yes, and I know every single word to that fucking album.
You ain't got enough. Oh. Send him on this real shit, yeah.
It's cool him doing his.
Real quick, what?
It's cool him doing the headlining tour. I can't wait to see him perform.
I'm so fucking proud of
What's
that
it
guy.
called? 6'7".
So let me tell you. What happened?
The shit him and Peggy was having. You went to any of them?
Oh yeah, I went to the Peggy one.
Okay.
That one was amazing. But if I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm not a big JPEG Mafia fan. I don't really like JPEG Mafia that much.
Oh,
but
I really like some of his stuff.
I think after Veteran, I couldn't get into it. And
I have to ask you about Serengeti too. If you've ever listened to a rapper, Serengeti.
I've never listened to that.
Oh my God, I want everyone to listen to him. All right, no, go back to the loop.
You send me that. But Zaloopers is just one of the best live performances I've ever seen. I saw him. The only time I ever saw him perform was when he was. Oh no, he wasn't even Danny's height. Oh no, I saw him because he opened up on the Atrocity exhibition tour too. And I saw him do it there. And obviously, he's doing. I wish that he would bring that set list to that. Yeah. But, of course, he didn't have that much under his belt, so he was doing, all of his old stuff and everything, I
love the new shit. Van Gogh's left.
And
ear.
is it Bothic, the one with Heart with Wiki on it? Yeah, like he just did all stuff from there. It was amazing.
I love Van Gogh's left ear.
That was a really, honestly, his stuff now is amazing. My favorite from the past couple years has been Wild Card. I feel like that's just so beautifully well done, and he has like these little snippets of this. I keep forgetting the name of the fucking painter, but this like French painter, like talking in between it, just like talking about these are my paintings and stuff. And I'm like, it's just like the way he crafted that was so beautiful.
So good.
He has such an amazing mind.
I say Dope Game Stupid is my album of the year. Hey guys, this episode is sponsored by producer out of Syracuse, New York, Twist L's. He makes dope lo-fi beats. He has a bunch of tapes on Bandcamp that you should all check out. But if you want to work or get amazing lo-fi beats, hit him up at lofi.lucifer on Instagram. That's lofi.lucifer. Check him out. He's an amazing dude. Thankfully sponsors the podcast. Let's get back into it.
I don't know what my album of the year is. What would my album of the year be? Because I listen to a lot of new stuff, but...
Dope Game Stupid.
Really? I like
Talking to the mic if you're going to talk.
Talking to the mic, Sharif.
You were nodding off over there.
Drunk as
I thought he was asleep.
He was for a second.
I heard you snoring
I
a little
heard
bit.
the snoring.
We need to involve him in more conversation.
We
otherwise
were
he's
getting
gonna
real
snore.
personal.
We were getting really... Because that's with me, like,
it
I
was
just give
beautiful.
depressing answers.
This is a self-help podcast. That's what people don't
Well,
understand.
I could help you with that because I literally had my therapy appointment today. Shout out to Veronica. I love you so much. You're the best therapist ever. I'm sorry sometimes I take Slack messages while I'm on therapy.
What was your album of the year?
What was my album of the year? Fuck. I
Ooh, and then I have
don't.
a question.
There's a really. It's not necessarily my album of the year because there's just a bunch that I liked. I love I love Snail Mail.
By who?
Valentine by Snail Mail.
I don't know that.
Listen to Snail Mail. I love Snail Mail. I love you so much, Lindsay, so much. But that was amazing. And there's this amazing Chicago footwork producer named I forgot if you call it Jana Rush. She has this insane, incredible like Chicago footwork album, just dealing with like sexuality and like being suicidal and like erotic stuff. It's gorgeous, and that one I listened to non-fucking stop. And as well, obviously the Bruiser albums I listened to
TV62.
a lot.
Oh,
TV62,
yeah. All of them.
Was awesome. The Weezer album, OK Computer. I'm a Weezer fan. I'm not afraid to admit it. I loved that album.
I like the White Album.
I didn't really listen to White.
I saw them on that one.
I love
Oh
Weezer.
my God! Can we have a nerd out about Hemlock, Ernst, and Future Islands? I'm so happy you know who they are.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I can't really nerd out that much because
Okay.
I don't listen to that much Future Islands.
Oh.
But I only really got into them just last year, honestly, because of like their whole rollout and stuff. And I had to write up a bunch of the singles for.
Oh, really?
And I was like, I actually like Future Islands more now.
Yeah, and
But like I've always had an appreciation for them.
did
but
you
I just
know
never got into
Hemlock before?
it. No.
Because he has that album with, I always called him Kenny Segal, but it's Kenny Siegel.
I always thought it was Kenny Segal as well.
I did too. I felt so bad because he's coming on soon. Because I love his production. Like, and he put out an album with Serengeti called Ajay that's really good.
I'm gonna check that
I
out.
know exactly what you're talking about now that you said that.
Yeah.
I heard that album.
The album about like the Indian kid who's obsessed with like his outfit and then he sells to that dude and he like switches characters in between the album.
There was,
It's yeah.
that's a lot.
It's oh that
High
Billy
places.
Woods. Oh my.
I've been listening to Billy Woods for a while.
SpongeBob, the whole operation underwater. Sorry, that's my favorite part.
That Hiding Places was really, really good. Oh, there's another really good album that came out. Speaking of that, it's called fuck. I forgot what it's called, but it's by the Floating Points, Promises by Floating Points and the London Symphony Orchestra and stuff. And I'm not going to even say his name because I know I'm going to botch it. But that one is amazing too.
Oh yeah,
tonight.
because Arm & Hammer has the track on it.
And the Loopers. The only
And
two
Salute,
features on there.
That's crazy.
I'm really so proud of him.
Yeah.
But Earl's, like, I love Earl, man.
I do too.
I love Earl.
I do too. I got to see him live, which was pretty dope with Baby Mother.
Baby Mother's my girl. I love her.
Yeah, that was an awesome show.
I'm so
Who
proud
do you
of
think
Baby
puts
Mother
on the
too.
best show?
I have a list. Danny, obviously.
Obviously.
I'm gonna get judged for this, but the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I'm the biggest Red Hot Chili Peppers fan.
Are
I
you?
could talk about the Red Hot Chili Peppers all day long. And Death Grips.
That's not what this podcast is.
Death Grips. I don't want to say the other band's name because they're shitheads.
Who?
Daughters?
Oh, with the V?
No.
No.
You don't listen to Daughters? Do you watch Anthony Fantano? I feel like you do.
No, I don't.
Okay,
They had
good.
that album with the kid on the front, right?
No.
I don't
It's
listen
just like
to
a
Anthony.
watercolor thing, but they're like this grind. They used to do grindcore, but then now they do like kind of like really heavy like metal and stuff
Oh,
like
no,
that.
I wouldn't listen.
They put on a really good show, but unfortunately, they're horrible. The lead singer is a horrible person.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah, but the Red Chili Peppers, Death Grips, Danny. Who else puts on a good show? Weezer, of course, puts on a really good show.
They do put on a good show.
I don't know who
I
else.
like that y'all said that.
Rome Street.
Say it so, my love.
Do you listen to Griselda at all?
I like Griselda, yeah.
Like Rome Street puts on a really good show. Conway, of course. Like
When I saw the Griselda guys for the first time at Rolling Loud this past year, and they killed it. And I was so surprised with how big the crowd is, because obviously they're from New York, so I would expect it. But it's still, I still feel like they're so underground. So to see like thousands of people like
yeah.
in that crowd was so
But they're like Drake and LeBron James' favorite rappers.
exactly. They're that type of like your favorite rapper's favorite rapper.
Exactly,
basically.
yeah. Hmm.
And so
That's
yeah,
what I like.
They're amazing.
Did you listen to Rap Ferreira's new album? It's very good.
I didn't listen to that one. I listened to the other one, Bob's Son.
That's a good one
That
too.
one was beautiful.
I'm excited to see him on tour.
I'm excited to see him too. I've never seen him. I didn't get into Rap Ferreira until recently because the guy that I work with, my other editor, is like the biggest Rap Ferreira fan. So I only recently got into it because it feels like that wouldn't be the type of rap that I like. Because the type of rap that I like is very different from a lot of these things now.
Yeah,
That's
like
why I still listen.
Like I'm surprised. I mean, I get, but like when I listen to your music, I was like, oh, okay, it makes sense what you like. You like the
That-
more turn up stuff.
I like that and just
Not that you're turn up, but like compared to Rap Ferreira, you have a lot more energy than he does.
Yeah, like my most listened to genre is like early 2000s Southern rap and crunk and stuff.
Really, you like Riff Raff?
I have a love-hate relationship with Riff Raff, as you know. Sometimes he's corny as fuck, and there's a part of me that just doesn't trust him as a man. I do not trust him at all. I feel like if I was alone in a room with him, I would not. The vibes would just be off. I don't think he'd do anything, but no. But he's hilarious, and I think he was one of those few people who pulled that off really well.
Yeah. Oh my God, I'm so jealous you talked to Maxo Cream because that's one of my favorites.
He is the sweetest man
I know you said
in
that. I'm so
the
happy.
world.
I'm so happy.
And it was funny because the first time I met him, it's amazing how things change. Like the first time I met Maxo, he was, how do I explain this? He was super closed off. He'd only said like one word to me. I was like, congrats on your baby. Let me take a picture. And then we interviewed each other. And he was like loosening up a little bit. He showed me his dogs and stuff like that. And then the next time I met him, he like ran up to me. He gave me a hug. He was like, Jade, let's do this and that. It's amazing how like it went from night to day with him.
No, that's
Once he realized he could trust me. And that's a thing about that I've noticed a lot in this job that I've definitely learned. Because, like, I love rappers. I love hanging out with them and working with them and everything. But obviously with a lot of them, when they see somebody like me, they don't automatically trust me. So I have to work really hard to kind of show them that I'm okay.
You're speaking to me. I know exactly what you're talking about. It's the exact same thing. Like, Conway even told my boy, I didn't like Sam when I first met him. Like,
Yeah.
that's, and to me being up on stage with him, you know what I mean? And, like, being able to interview him and, like, us hanging in the club and, like, us talking. But he literally didn't like me when we first met.
And it's terrifying because, like, we have to, like like, because obviously when these people look at us, of course, I don't blame people for thinking whenever they look at me, they don't think that I listen to and enjoy the things that I do.
100%.
And so they always feel so closed off. So then I feel like I have to like show off a little bit to get them to realize, okay, I trust you. Like who did I interview once? I interviewed Saweetie once. And she was so nice and she was like super chill. And then I was like, she's not giving me the answers that I want. So then I brought up hyphy music. And her whole demeanor changed. She's like, holy shit, you know about that? Or like when I was talking to Duke Deuce and then I started talking about Memphis rap. And then he stopped. He was like, oh shit, you really do know your stuff. And then like, you got to prove it. Because obviously like these guys are in their own little bubble sometimes. And they rightfully so want to kind of protect their energy from...
Because people do want shit from them. But once you show you don't really want anything from
Especially because, like, in the industry that we're in, people are really opportunistic and stuff. A lot of people I know in my situation, I feel like it's like, as a music writer, I get to see, like, a lot of the drama, kind of. And some people definitely seem to be in it just to kind of, like, collect these interviews like Dragon Balls and stuff like that and just churn shit out. And for me, it's definitely like a very spiritual thing for me because it's something that I really want to do and I really want to make sure I tell these people's stories in the proper way.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that obviously comes with like working a little bit harder to get what I want to do them justice.
Yeah, and I churn them out. I do 3 episodes a week.
That's
but
crazy.
I don't collect, like, that's why I don't prepare questions. Like, I listen to...
I never prepare questions either.
I go in and I have a conversation because that's what I care about. And I also hang out with people afterwards. Like, we were drinking and, you know, he's taking a nap over there.
No, he's awake. He's awake.
I'm just kidding. But, like, I just do it because I want to be... Like, I want to be friends with people, you know? Like, these are people I like their energy on, like, a spiritual connection. Like, I want to have a real conversation with them. Like...
Exactly. And that's the best part of being able to do stuff like this. Because I feel like, and you definitely understand this because you've been able to form these relationships with these people, is being able to break through everything and to have a more personal relationship after the camera stopped rolling, or in my case, after I hang up the phone of doing an interview with them or whatever.
Because that's the worst, and you know they get that all the time, where people just want to get that, like, clickbait title.
Exactly.
You know?
And for me, I'm like, no, I want to actually build relationships with these people and make sure that they're, like, I want them to just be part of my lives because I don't interview people whose music I don't like. That's one thing that I refuse to do. Also because I feel like I won't be able to do their story justice. Yeah. And so every single person that I talk to, for the most part, we have some sort of relationship where they either remember me, save for very few things, like obviously like Sweetie and Megan Thee Stallion would never like give me their phone numbers and we like talk and text all the time. But otherwise, most of the other people that I've spoken to have just been so sweet and nice. Like, I even talked to Gerald from Devo a couple months ago. That's my boy now. Like, we texted a couple times back and forth. And it's just, like, so funny just saying, like, I have a member of Devo on my phone.
That is
and
so... Well,
he's so sweet to me.
That's why I really, like, I wanted to talk to you when I saw you. Because, like, we were in the Bruiser Brigade house. And, like... You and I stand out differently, and it's funny that we come from we talked about this the night we met, like, very opposite fields. Like, I just kind of, like, we both fell into it.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
very
exactly.
different.
I forgot what you told me, but you were like, we kind of do the same thing, but then you looked at me like you were going to offend me, but not really, because you do something, like, very different. And I'm like, no, yeah.
Yeah, because you spent your whole life, like, to this point, and yours is, like, you're working for big magazines, interviewing crazy people. Like, I just kind of get high and do this podcast, you know?
Honestly, though, you're living the dream. If I was able to get paid doing this shit, like...
Very minimal money.
That obviously. But there's money in podcasting. It's so just crazy to see how much some of these people make, especially, like, with Patreon and everything.
Yeah. I was offered... I had some shit fall through, and I think it was a good learning experience. when you're offered a lot of money and then the person doesn't follow through on it.
Aw. Yeah, that's happened to me many times.
You know what I'm talking
That's happened
about?
to me so many times. I've missed so many opportunities. I was supposed to interview Princess Nokia for the cover of Playboy.
Really?
Yes. And the editorial board took too long to get back, that by the time it happened, they just gave it to somebody else. And to this day, I'm still really upset because I've always wanted to be published in print. Always. And I was like, I'm going to get the fucking cover of Playboy magazine. This is my second professional byline ever. Fuck yeah.
But how old are you?
Now I'm 23, turning 24 in May.
See, I'm 24, turning 25.
I thought you were way older. You look like a 30-year-old man.
I'm 16, turning 17.
I wouldn't doubt that. How old are you, Sharif?
We don't discuss ages on here. And I'm drinking.
How old do you think Sharif is?
I don't know. 31?
32.
Wow.
31?
You're 31?
How you thought I was in my 30s?
I thought at the very least like 27, 28 years old.
Yeah, now I'm
but Sharif
24
gives me
years.
grown uncle energy.
Yes, I'm the greatest old uncle in the hood, so pull up on me. I got liquor
He's unhinged.
and Chinese food.
But no, I'm 24. So like, it is funny though, because you get caught in the eye of the storm, right? You probably like every time you don't get to enjoy the stuff you do because of the financial burden of like needing to get to the same thing. So like when something cool happens, you're like, all right, but I need to move on to the next thing because
It's-
I'm not supporting myself. Off of it.
Basically, it's a horrible analogy, but it's kind of just like, what do you have like an orgasm and it's like really quick and you're like, it's awesome, but then like only a few minutes later you're like, okay, back to my normal life again.
100%.
And that's because but instead I kind of have like this existential crisis, like, holy shit, now I need to do this again and again. And after a certain point, like, you don't want to do the same thing over again. You don't want to. And that's how I feel sometimes when I'm...
But we're also young, so like people.
And we're
who are,
already having
like-
these existential crises and we're only 24 years old.
Yeah, but think about the things we have been able to do and how they just feel normal. But to other people, that's their like dream.
Exactly.
Like that's like I was when Hannibal was at Danny's house and we were all just chilling. That's like a fucking like that's like I'm a stand-up comedian and Danny's one of my favorite rappers of all time. Like to be on Thanksgiving morning, like
Yeah.
like but it doesn't put like
It doesn't.
You're in the eye of the storm. You're like, all right, but how am I gonna fucking pay my shit? Like,
Yeah, that's how I feel when I'm just like with these people. I'm like, I can't make rent from these just with these
but
experiences.
they're still the
I
most
wish I can,
amazing things ever.
but
It's
I'm
like
glad that they happen.
it is
And
like
also,
an orgasm.
speaking.
Danny
on,
makes me come.
That should be on a T-shirt. He would love that, honestly.
Just my face.
I wanna
and
know-
It says Danny makes me come.
My friend and I, we were talking once, and I forgot what happened, but we decided like a perfect question to ask a rapper is what songs of yours do you think are the best to have sex to?
Oh, hell yeah.
And I was like, I think that would be honestly like a very good idea. And I wouldn't ask Danny, but I want to know what his would be. But me
yeah.
and my friends were talking. We were trying to figure out like, and kind of on that same note. Well,
I fucked a DNA before. That's not a good song to fuck.
that's a horrible song to fuck. That's literally what you were talking about. He was like throwing it back to him, talking about like generational trauma.
Yeah.
No, but
Also go fuck
You said-
Ministry from me NWO.
You said you were gonna come on here and spit some controversial opinions.
Well,
What are
what
some controversial fuck songs?
controversial fuck songs. Okay, well, I have
Anything by The Weeknd, because it's really
How is that
good.
controversial?
Because when you listen to the lyrics, it's like, should we be
No?
fucking to this?
No, he makes it very clear he wants to be fucking to it. Have you listened like his newer stuff? Probably not.
new album?
But Trilogy,
Did not like.
you could
Trilogy is a good album.
you could
Kissland, I
just
fucked with
Kissland, Love in the Sky is amazing. But for me, I don't really necessarily. So my friends make fun of me because like we were just talking because my friend, his girlfriend, they fooled her, they messed around and all that stuff, and then afterward, and and afterward, I forgot what he said. He was like, but then this song came on, and I was like, I have to change it. And then we started talking, and one thing led to another, and I started getting roasted for like, because they were like, so what's on your playlist? And for me, it's not that controversial, but like, Plies.
Okay, I have some Plies on my fuck playlist.
People think it's so weird, and I don't think so. Plies. They made fun of me when I said that they couldn't imagine me just like doing stuff to Tank. I think Tank.
I don't listen to Tank.
I got Drew Hill on my fuck list.
Obviously.
And Tina Turner.
What Tina Turner song can you have?
Talk into the mic.
What Tina
I'm sorry, I
Turner?
didn't mean to sound so sassy right there.
And also Jeezy.
Jeezy?
I have like.
What's Love Got to Do with It is on my fuck list.
I'm looking at my
What's
fuck
love
list.
got to do with
I'm
it?
looking at my
Yes.
fuck list right now.
Shit.
Let me look at my.
You shit me.
Why?
You know that I can't. Hearts feel like.
That is not a good song. If
I got
America do not fuck.
I got Kevin Gates on my phone.
Yes.
Gates.
Kevin Gates got
He's
fuck
freaky.
joints.
Controversial.
No,
That's-
Kevin
That's not
Gates got
controversial.
fuck joints.
Yo,
That's not controversial.
I went to a Kevin Gates show because I love Kevin Gates. So many lesbians. It's crazy.
Lesbians love Kevin Gates.
It's crazy.
No, because
I like to fuck the house music.
75% of the audience is Kevin Gates.
House music?
I like to fuck to house music and club music, Jersey shit.
I got some Future.
fucking a Jersey club.
Yeah, like, oh.
DJ Lil Man 973.
Oh, I
Yeah,
got
all
like
that, all that.
Santi and Sango and some like
Sango's good.
Sango.
Sango. I don't know.
Summer Walker.
Summer Walker. Yeah. Let me look at mine. I have.
Metallica, I fucked the Inner Sandman.
Kevin Gates is so good. And he also just spits that really nasty shit that I like.
And that's what
Like I like dirty bars.
Yeah, that's like the best part. Like with those Southern rappers and stuff. That's why I love Trick Daddy so much.
You said that Trick Daddy was a rapper you'd like hook. He said it was. I asked you what a controversial opinion was, and you said Trick Daddy.
Trick Daddy is in my top 10.
Oh, I thought you said something about wanting to hook up with him.
Oh no, Young Trick Daddy? Young Trick Daddy? Yes. Are you kidding?
What the fucking brand?
People
You
only,
shit
Top
me?
10 rappers.
people only know Trick Daddy from they know Lupus Meth. I don't know if he did meth. That's friend. But like they
know
only
from-
know Lupus Trick Daddy.
Wait, what? They know him from lupus? I didn't even know he had lupus.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had it for years.
Yeah, that's why he looks the way that he does and his skin and all that stuff. But Young Trick Daddy, oh my God. He's like 90s fine. He's
90 fine with the chocolate
gorgeous.
ball head like an Armor Joy. You hear what she's saying?
Exactly.
You shit
I
me?
think I just saw. Yo, I feel so bad. I saw Rico Nasty open up for Playboy, and they fucking threw shit at her until she had to get off stage.
Playboy Cardi fans can suck my dick from the back. I fucking hate them.
Nah, it makes me
Playboy
real mad.
Cardi put on one. If we're talking about best shows earlier, one of the worst shows I've ever been to in my life was Playboy
dude,
Cardi.
I was tripping on mushrooms the entire show. He didn't rap a single word. Every 30 seconds, he went, caw. I swear to God, every 30 seconds, he would go, caw. And that was the only noise he made the entire concert.
I heard this hilarious story. on this podcast, and they went to see Eagles of Death Metal.
I do love Playboy Cardi, so
They went to see Eagles of Death Metal play, the one with Josh Homme and stuff like that. And at the beginning of every single song, he would say, "This is for the ladies." And every time he would say it, the crowd was gradually getting angrier and angrier with it, that by the end of it, they were just screaming because they just it was like a full set after everyone. This is
But
for
I
the
felt
ladies.
so bad for Rico Nasty.
I
'cause
love him.
I saw her. I love seeing. I bet you feel this way. Seeing rappers in tiny little clubs before they blew up.
Yeah.
Like I've seen Billie Eilish in a tiny little club.
Oh,
I saw
damn.
YoungBoy. I saw YoungBoy in like 100-person room.
For me, I think the only story I have of that is seeing Danny and Schoolboy and everybody like that at this tiny. I forgot. Sharif, is it called the PlayStation Theater now, or did they change the name again? Remember Best Buy Theater on 42nd?
Crazy thing, I've never been to Best Buy Theater.
Never been
But
to
I
Best
do
Buy
know
Theater?
what you're talking about.
But it's a very tiny venue. Long story short. Oh, funny story.
Sony Hall.
I think it might be called Sony Hall now. But
Yeah,
they
Sony
keep-
Hall, small room. Yeah, I was
they
just
keep-
there for the Rome Street's Flea Lord show
That's
with
where-
YL and Starker and Zumo.
That's where I saw Danny for the first time ever, and it was so tiny, and I got peed on at that show.
Was that
What
when
the
the chick?
fuck?
Wait.
That elevated.
Yeah, I need to know why you got
So
beat on
okay,
at a Danny
so in
show.
between every single set, the DJ was playing, and I remember he was gradually playing harder and harder shit. I was all alone. I was all alone at this show. I was easily the youngest one there. My mom was like doing God knows what and was like, "I'll pick you up later." I'm like, "Okay." So I'm minding my business, and there's this drunk guy next to me, this much older man, and he was getting progressively more shit faced. And I remember he was like screaming hard in the paint in my ear, like rapping the whole entire thing, whole entire time. And I was trying to move away from him, and then I'm minding my business in the middle of the Ab Soul set, and I feel something warm on my leg. And I look down, and the guy has his dick out completely. And I'm like, dude, are you kidding me? And I'm not even joking. He said, fucking move.
God damn.
Just whole dick out while Ab Soul's just rapping. And I
Absol
start
couldn't
screaming.
see it.
So I push the guy because that's my instinct. And piss starts flying everywhere because his dick is still out. He's midstream, and I push him.
Dude, I'm pissing, goddammit.
Everybody, they got mad at me, but then they realized, oh, all I remember hearing, he's pissing. This motherfucker pissing. And then they had to like grab him and take him out. And for the rest of the night, it was just like dried up piss down my leg. I had to deal with that for another 2.5 hours.
Wow.
And then
you had to deal with a lot to be a Danny fan.
But then after that, the funny thing is, I tweeted and I was like, Absol, Danny, at the show last night, I got peed on. And Absol privately DM'd me and said, I am so sorry that happened to you. And that was it. That was the extent of our I tried to DM him multiple times after that, and he never answered me.
Absol's one of my favorite rappers.
I love him.
Who are your like dream? You asked me what my dream. Can we have a dream off?
Dream off, yes.
Dream interview off, so that one day we can listen back to that and be like, oh shit.
Who do I want to interview? I want to interview Rick Ross. I would love. I feel like Rick Ross and I would get along very, very well.
I just had Smoke Bolja on, and he was like, yeah.
What?
I met Rick.
Oh.
I met Rick Ross when I was 16 years old, and he told me I looked like his lawyer.
You do look like a Jewish lawyer.
I'm not Jewish.
Do people think you're Jewish?
All the time.
You
'Cause
look-
I'm a comedian too.
That's a Jewish combo right there.
Yeah.
Your combo break. You got the nose, you got the hair, and
I know.
you do comedy.
You're a walking propaganda poster.
Are you Nigerian?
I forgot what oh no, I was with my friend once, and these guys come up, and I'm the ugly one in the group. I never got hit on. And
Be nice. Come on.
She is
Start
beautiful.
the tapes over.
Hold
We're
on.
restarting this podcast.
Jade is beautiful, and she should never say that. Clap for
Honey,
Jade,
you
y'all.
gotta give her some.
Clap for Jade
You're the
being
female. You
beautiful
gotta
and being a
give
nice
her
woman.
some fucking.
The hell?
We already told her when she came in here, great outfit.
Yeah, what the hell is wrong
come
with her?
on.
We already went over how great.
Hello, Jade.
Hi.
Yeah, y'all better give it up for my queen, my sister Jade, her beautiful self.
basically, this one guy was hitting on my friend once, and for some reason, for a pickup line, he was like, "Are you Korean, mama?" And she was like, "Why?" He was like, "'Cause you're hanging out with this bitch over here." And I'm like,
That's hard.
"What does that?"
What?
Sharif is gonna use it as a bar. Are you gonna use that as a bar? And I was like, "Excuse me?" And I'm like, "So she's Korean by proxy?" I'm like, "I'm not even fucking Korean."
Oh,
And he was like, "I'm just asking a question." And then I met these other. It's always when guys are hitting on my friends. Because another time I was like, I was coming from a party. My friend and I were about to go to a club over in Brooklyn, and these guys stop us. And then one of the guys was like, he didn't know how to start a conversation with me. So he just went up to me and was like, "You look like you watch a lot of anime." And I'm like, what am I supposed to do with that? What am I supposed to do with that? Do you watch anime?
No.
Good.
Do you?
Yeah, who
Not
would
really.
like that lame stuff?
Porn is better than anime?
I watched One Punch Man, and that's it.
I don't like how you said that. Because the way you put emphasis on the wrong thing, you're like One Punch Man instead of One Punch Man.
Yeah, it bothered me too.
What? One Punch Man.
No, you're doing it again. One Punch Man.
Yeah, One Punch Man. I'm saying.
Sam, it's One Punch Man.
No, One Punch Man sounds wrong.
You're saying it like
One Punch Man.
One Punch Man.
no, because like
One Punch
even
Man.
the way you said
One
it
Punch
before,
Man. What?
you made it seem like it's a last name.
Yeah, his first name is One Punch, and his last name is Man.
No, but you're making it seem like Punch Man, even when the other way that you said it was
One Punch Man.
Let's change the subject. Let's change the subject. Oh my
Dream interviews.
Dream interviews. But yeah, Rick Ross.
Rick Ross.
I want to talk to Rick Ross.
I want to talk to One Punch Man.
Trina.
Oh.
Jesus Lord.
Who else do I want to talk to? I would love to talk to Schoolboy Q, even though I'd feel like I'd be freaking out the whole entire time. But I would love to. I would love to sit down and just have a chat with him. I feel like we would get along very well. I feel like that's it.
Zaloopers.
And Jeezy. I want to talk to Jeezy so bad.
And Zaloopers.
Zaloopers, sweetheart, Walter, Zaloopers, please answer my emails.
You ignored your email.
I emailed him and he acknowledged that he read it. I could text him, but I feel weird about asking for business things over text unless I absolutely have to. But because I feel self-conscious about it. But yeah.
Yeah.
Half of this interview is just going to be me just like telling people to acknowledge my existence. I hope you understand that.
That's what this whole podcast. I do 3 episodes a week, not for the guests. I just want people to listen to me talk.
Exactly. And it's good. You have to have a certain amount of cockiness, I think, to make it. And
Well,
I'm very cocky. I know that I'm good at what I do. And you got to be like that. You got to go into every room like you have the biggest dick in the room and you're like, I could out interview all of you. Even though some people say it's not a healthy mindset to have, for me, no, fuck that.
No, I talk so much. I talk a lot of I talk a lot of shit about myself, but I really do believe that I'm like gonna be recognized as one of the best. And like, it's so funny.
You're a talented dude, yeah.
Conway calling me the next Larry King is hilarious, but also it was like a very nice compliment for him to give me. And like,
I could see that.
I don't know.
I'll say the next Dennis Miller.
Didn't he kill himself?
Hell no.
Oh. But no, like, I do believe, like, there's a reason that, like, that's why I fucked with you, is there was a reason that we were in the Bruiser house on that Thanksgiving. Like, if we weren't supposed to be there, trust me, we wouldn't be there. Those are real enough dudes that, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I really love those guys.
I love all of them. All of them. Dude, Quentin's album, amazing.
I love him so much.
JUS's GoFundMe Corvette is so good.
JUS, he's such a good dude. And that guy's a walking encyclopedia.
And he didn't even really rap until, like...
Yeah, him and Fat Ray are walking encyclopedias, especially Fat Ray. When I was interviewing Fat Ray, he was just telling me, this guy used to live on this block. He used to hang out with Proof and all these other guys, like these legendary Detroit rappers. And he knew everything. Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, he's one of the oldest aside from Danny, and he has really been embedded into the rap scene since he was so young, and was just
and he's worked with everybody, and he was like with Boldy, like he was a concrete, like
It's amazing. When I was interviewing him, I was just in awe because he was just saying fact after fact after fact. Like he could write a whole entire book on that if he wanted to.
They're such a talented, and I know we talked about how great they were as people, but musically, like
they're all so talented.
It's so cool
kind of
listening to. Is it 30 or is it Triple X?
Either or. That's
okay.
Yeah.
I call it Triple X. You called it 30 earlier, and I got self-conscious. So
no, because I used to call it. I still sometimes call it Triple X, but I know I probably shouldn't. But yeah, I know I probably shouldn't. But
I call it Triple X, and I listened to that album when I was young in high school, and I tried to learn to play drums on that album. And
interesting.
Like,
Do you still play drums?
No, my dad's a drummer. I left it to him. I'm a comedian. That's why
you seem like the type to have been raised by a drummer. Trust me, it makes sense in my head.
No, I get it. But like that album meant so much to me. So like it was cool being in that room, but like I know I'm meant to be there. Like I don't have any like background in interviewing, but like I know I'm also going to be a great comedian, and I'm so like
tell me a joke.
That's not how this works. That's not how this works. The dude who fucking sold me my Subaru every time I go on for maintenance asks me for a joke, and it's like, do you want me to offend you right now? And then I texted him a bit of mine, and he never replied. I'm like, go
Like a video of a bit?
Yeah, I was like, go fuck yourself.
Being a comedian is one of the scariest jobs ever.
Danny, I talked to Danny about, he really does, like, he did comedy at Bruiser Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Like, and it's funny, Conway, I was talking to Conway about Danny doing comedy, and he's like, man, I'd do comedy if it was on a show with you, so I want to get a show with Danny Conway and me doing comedy.
That would be hilarious. But Danny's just a natural. Yeah, he's a naturally funny person. The stories that he tells he's just such a naturally good storyteller. I would be terrified if I was a comedian because I hate rejection and I hate people thinking that people don't like me. And I feel like if I was a comedian,
that's the whole world of comedy.
Exactly. I couldn't deal with, especially crowd work. You cannot ask me to riff to save my life. Improv.
You don't prepare questions. It's the same thing.
I guess, yeah. Yeah.
That shit is fun, Jay. You should have came to the shit me and Borg did. The what was it? The improv. That shit was dope.
I could imagine. Sharif is such a naturally funny person too. This guy, he's just, and you make friends everywhere you go. He's friends with everybody by default.
I want you to just be a nice, open spirit person that's like a spiritual Buddha onto the world.
I saw Buddha when I did DMT. Let's wrap this up. Let's hang out. We can turn the cameras off. This was an honor. Thank you so much for coming on.
so
I really
much.
appreciate it.
You're awesome.
I love to give it up.
You're
y'all.
awesome. Where can people read your shit?
So go on pastemagazine.com, look up Jade Gomez. I got some cool stuff dropping.
I loved the interview you did with Rico.
Rico and Danny are on there. I took pictures of them too. I have a lot of cool shit up. Read my Vic Mensa interview. That one, he's very smart. Not a lot of people read that. So read that. And the one I did with Nez, he is super talented. Shout out to him.
Yes, he was signed to Dr. Dre?
He produced Man of the Year by Schoolboy.
Oh, okay.
And then now he does his own stuff. He's
Never
an
mind.
amazing
I was thinking
Chicago
of
house
something.
producer. Check him out too. He has a beautiful story. And yeah, check out Paste Magazine. Follow me on Instagram, betteroffalone.mp3. So you could see me and my questionable taste in men on my story sometimes.
Do you guys want to plug anything?
Just too much content.live that's our website and everywhere on social media.
Sound more excited when you say it.
I'm stoned as fuck. What do you want from me? Feed me drugs and alcohol? Hey guys, too much content.live.
Anna, you want to plug your candles? Oh, the
We have
bucked
candles?
up candle. This is a bucked up. It says light the trees up, and my grandma didn't get it was a weed reference.
I wish I could. I don't have a sense of smell, but
I don't either, really.
You don't have a sense of smell?
Like mine's at like 25%.
How did you get it? You have
Uh,
a deviated septum.
yeah.
Gang shit. We both have.
When we get money, we can pay for that.
I am
shit.
so scared to get put under. I was just talking to my therapist about that today, about how I'm terrified to be under anesthesia because I don't know what they're doing.
The last time they put me under, I almost didn't come back. Like I got fucked from it. Like
that is
literally,
why I
it
don't
was
wanna do
really
it.
bad. Yeah.
That's why I don't want to do it.
Anyway, you want to plug? I know you were just on the last episode, but this is 2 days. This is coming out 2 days after your episode. So,
wisely.
do you want to?
I just want to say shout out to Bucked Up Podcast. Shout out to everybody in the building. Shout out to Jade. Holler at me on IG, Twitter, Fatboy Sharif. GLC out now. New music on the way. I love y'all. Yeah.
Hey, it's me. It's Ani again. The one thing I want to plug is my candle club, the Liddy Committee. You can go check out my Patreon. Don't do this. Patreon/Moosh. That's where you'll find it.
Liddy Committee. If you like candles,
Almost forgot. Album of the year. I remembered it now. Turnstiles Glow On. Everybody listen to it.
I don't know that one either.
No, yeah, Glow On. You need to listen to Everybody should listen to Turnstile. Thank you.
I only really listen to rap. I just got into Phoebe Bridgers.
Oh my God, we're gonna mold you into the perfect bisexual.
Excuse me, that's not gonna happen. Let's go to the strip club right now. Camera's off. Goodbye.